I was sent apparently a study that's going to be discussed in the June 8th and 9th President's Cancer Panel by Chairman Harvey Risch. And apparently and I don't know what this stands for, the U.S. SEER, SEER.
Surveillance and Epidemiologic Evidence Registry.
SEER is actually easy to say. This is what Dr. Risch wanted me to talk about this. Leukemias are generally the shortest latency cancers and thus would be the first empirical signs to see pandemic-related effects. U.S. SEER cancer incidence data for 2023 were recently released. It is clear that for 2023, there are substantial incidence increases above the trend line for all, both sexes, males, both sexes, for every cohort. They have instant increases above the trend line. These charts appear to be the first U.S. data showing that an association between COVID-19 infection and vaccination of leukemias may be possible and should be confirmed by additional data as they become available. Again, I think it's a pretty balanced statement, but we have Dr. El-Dery, who has just laid out plausible mechanisms, concerned. We have Dr. Dalglish, who saw it in his clinic, was highly concerned. Again, I hear from a lot of doctors also see it clinically, observationally. Dr. El-Dery talked about the cancers seeing, at the site, in the neck. I mean, wouldn't that be indications of causation? Is that something that we ought to research? The lipid nanoparticle would biodistribute all over the body, accumulate in ovaries and adrenal glands, that type of thing. So we do know now that they lied to us. It was going to say they are no, biodistributed all over the body. And in doing so, then this little package with modified mRNA that wasn't going to degrade is going to enter cells all over the body, in the heart, turning those little heart cells into manufacturers of a toxic spike protein that, then what does the body do when there's a toxic spike protein on a cell?
I would first of all argue that what happens in mice is not necessarily what happens in humans.
No. This happened in humans. They knew that when they lied to us, it was going to say they knew it was going to biodistribute. That's the point of the study in mice. Spike protein is being found in tumors.
We need to further investigate this.
I think it's probably safe to say people on the panel, probably most people in this room, including myself, I mean, we don't dispute the fact that vaccines can be helpful and save lives. I think you can dispute some of the claims, but again, I've never been an anti-vaxxer. I think our concern here, and one of the reasons I hold this hearings, is there's just a denial of the vaccine and the injection injuries. I'll just, again, you had cervical cancer. We had it at our Voice of the Vaccine Injured, a mother, Emily Tarso, whose daughter, 20-year-old daughter, died 18 days after she received her third shot of Gardasil, the HPV vaccine. After 8 years of litigation, this is how difficult it is to actually claim compensation through the government fund. Quote, HHS conceded by preponderance of the evidence, including challenge, re-challenge, that her daughter died from her HPV vaccination. They had no alternative explanation for her death. So again, I'm not a vaccine denier. We're battling vaccine injury deniers. That's part of our problem. But Dr. Graylow, you mentioned that mRNA degrades very rapidly in the body. Is it your understanding and belief that the mRNA in the COVID injections is that type of mRNA?
That is my understanding.
So you don't realize that that's not true mRNA, it's modified. It's modified pseudouridine, is that so it doesn't degrade. You're obviously then unaware of some of the studies that show that the spike and the mRNA is circulating in the body up to 2 years. We haven't studied it longer than that, but it's stayed in this body that long, attaching to the cells. As long as I'm on this track, was it your belief that the injection would stay in the arm? We were told that. It was going to inject in the arm, stay there, create antibodies. The mRNA was going to degrade very quickly, and that's why it was so safe. Was that your understanding and your belief that the injection stays in the arm?
I think the effects of the injection are total body. So the immune response, the reaction.
No, but I mean the actual, so you're aware the modified mRNA was encapsulated in a lipid nanoparticle, correct? Right. So do you believe that package stayed in the arm as we were told it was going to do?
I can't reliably comment on
So
that.
So again, you're saying how safe and effective this is, but you don't know how it works. How does it have the... Are you aware of the fact that the lipid nanoparticle delivers its modified mRNA to a cell? That mRNA, that modified mRNA is injected into the cell, and then it turns the cell into a factory of the spike protein, which is toxic to the body. Are you aware that that's how it creates immunity?
The mRNA in the vaccine does get into cells, and it codes for a protein once it is inside the cell.
So are you aware of the DNA contamination found in these vials, that if the mRNA is being injected in the cell, well, gee, maybe some of this DNA, which is way beyond the levels accepted by the FDA, could also be injected in the cell? Are you aware of that?
I am aware that the mRNA that is injected does not get into our own DNA, and I am not aware of reliable data saying that within the vaccine itself that the DNA levels are high.
So you said that there is no clinical evidence proving these injections cause cancer. What would you require for proof? How would you ever prove that?
We would need to follow long-term.
So observational studies, clinical observation carries no weight, has no evidence.
I think it's hypothesis generating. I do think there are major differences between people who choose to have vaccines, who are more health engaged, and those who choose not to.
So
I do believe that we should research this.
So let me address the other belief where you thought it just stayed in the arm. There literally was biodistribution studies in rats that said the lipid nanoparticle would biodistribute all over the body, accumulate in ovaries and adrenal glands, that type of thing. So we do know now that they lied to us. I was going to say they are biodistributed all over the body. And in doing so, then this little package with modified mRNA that wasn't going to degrade is going to enter cells all over the body, in the heart, turning those little heart cells into manufacturers of a toxic spike protein that, then what does the body do when there's a toxic spike protein on a cell?
Well, I would first of all argue that what happens in mice is not necessarily what happens in humans.
No. This happened in humans. Okay, they knew it before. They knew it when they lied to us. They knew it was going to biodistribute. That's the point of the study in mice. They knew it, and now we know it because this is disturbing. One